Morning, Market Chameleons. Thanks for joining us for Monday morning's pre-market show. How you doing, Dima?
Good morning, Will. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to see everyone. Some great chit chat on YouTube. People saying where they're. I mean, it's amazing how many chameleons are actually outside of America. And there were some great, guys. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's early AM hours for some people. I mean, it's really cool.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for signing in.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, we do get
great.
a lot. We do get a lot of people just outside America. Surprisingly, I think it's something like almost a third.
Yeah, very
the
cool.
Visitors are outside of US. Yeah.
Well, if you're joining us on YouTube Live for the first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and everyone, please thumbs up. It would be a great help. And with that, we'll start with the disclaimer. What do you think, D?
Yep. So everyone keep in mind, Will and I, Market Chameleon, we're not registered investment advisors. We're not broker dealers. We're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing ideas. If you need help or professional advice, then contact your registered investment advisor or call your broker. They should be able to help you with your questions and give you guidance. So there's the disclaimer, everyone.
All right. What are you seeing in the pre-market, buddy?
Let's see. So couple things this week. I think we're getting the GDP numbers this week, so that's something to look for. And obviously, then we got the debate coming up tomorrow, so we'll see if anything happens there that could move the market. I'm looking at the pre-market report. I think what I was going to do is really quickly take a look at the unusual option volume report. After that, another report we'll look at open interest. A report we usually don't look at, maybe we'll take a look, as the large block option trades.
Cool.
So maybe we'll look at that report today, and perhaps maybe see how like straddles and out of the money calls, out of the money puts performing the last 6 weeks, to see if there's like any kind of outstanding winners in the last 6 weeks in any underlying names. So let's take a look here in a pre-market report. If you're joining us for the first time, this is stocks that are trading actively in the pre-market hours. We got the most active stocks, biggest percentage gainers, biggest percentage decliners. I'm going to really quickly just go look at what's happening in the higher market cap stocks. So I'm using the filter for stocks over 20 billion market cap or higher. So here I got HSBC, that's up 10%. That's been actually doing really bad, right? HSBC is like at multi-year lows, I think, and they've been having like, they got like regulatory issues. Well, do you know anything about that?
The European banks just have not had the same support that the government has given to the banks over here, and they have not. I mean, it's at a 52-week low right now.
Yeah, like very multi. Yeah, it's been doing really badly. Also, are they impacted by like that Briggs exit? I don't know if like those banks are, but I mean, we've had a lot of banks been hurting here too. So anyway, up 10% today, looking on the rebound. DEO up 7.8%, Tesla up 4.3%. I see Uber 4.1%. Anyway, 77 stocks on the gainers list, only one on the decliners. So at least market breadth looks very positive in the morning here. Bone, I think that's also been like pretty weak lately, rebounding today. Let's take a look at the unfiltered list. So PLL, that's up 218% today in the morning, 1.2 million shares. This is a low cap market cap stock, 91 million market cap. Looks like, what are they into, like lithium, mining lithium?
Yeah, it's a big deal in battery manufacturing. They need it.
Yeah, it looks like they signed an agreement with Tesla, so that looks like a really big deal for them. Low market cap stock, 1.2 million shares trading hands. Look, traded as low as $16, as high as $46 in the pre-market hour. Pre-market VWAP price 36.01. This is what it looks like in the pre-market, the chart. Longest VWAP bar here, 33.86 to 35.95. So, blew right through that 52-week high. So very positive news for that. I mean, we could take a look really quickly at the gap up history, but I doubt it had anything like this.
It is interesting, when news from California came out about the elimination of basically the combustible engine by 35. You know,
Yeah.
every day in the pre-market, we talked about another battery stock or solar stock that was rallying. This rallied those days too, but now, you know, something bigger came out. And
yeah, and I was reading, there's speculation about these lithium manufacturers, and like we'll take a look at some of these other ones. I think I did see some solar ones up here as well in the pre-market hours. But just to show you like today's move compared to like the 12 largest gap moves in the morning in the last 3 years. So we see here, these are 12 largest gap moves in the last 3 years. These are the dates. So the average was 11%, and a high was 20%. So you could see here that's way above, anything we've seen. But small cap stock, really good. Seems like really good news for this stock today. I don't even know if we'll take a look what it tended to do, but I think like this is just a special situation. So when, this data set, I don't know if you could even apply to today's news, but this is what it tended to do. So at the open, after opening up at the open, looks like half the time the opening was the high of the day. It drifted lower. The average move from the opening to the high was 2.4%. Average from the open to the low, 8.9%. It looks like after a big gap up, it tended to drift lower more oftentimes than higher. 83% of the time it drifted lower, 17% higher, 17% of the time it was higher for an average loss of 4.6%. Again, this news looks like really special for that stock. So keep that in mind. I'll let you guys read the news and kind of interpret it. Let's take let me see if this, here's PRCP. Let's see what that's doing. It looks like it was probably an earnings related move. So up 67% in the pre-market hours. Let's take a look. This is also low market cap stock, 39.8 million. And it's getting taken over. So this is a takeover actually. So they're getting taken over for $7 per share. So that's why this is up 67%. GNFT, let me see what they do, up 47%. That looks like a biotech stock. 252,000 shares trading hands, also low market cap stock, 21 million shares. So again, biotech stock, some news on it over here. Closed at $4.19, trading the pre-market hours, $5.98, up 42.7%. This is the range in the pre-market, $4.56, $6.66. Let's take a look at its gap history, and then I'm going to move on to a different report. So in the last 3 years, these are the 12 largest gap moves. On average, 9.2%, high of 18.8 over here, which was on March 18th, 2020. Today, up 42%, so way above this data set. This is what it tended to do after the opening. So from the opening to the high of the day, the average move was 3.7%. From the open to the low of the day, average move 4%, down 4%. From the open to the close of the day, it looks like about 50-50, 58% of the time it was lower, 42% of the time it was higher, for an average gain of 0.4%. Again, this low cap stock could be very volatile. Had some catalyst news or event behind today's move. So I'll let you guys go take a look at it and see if that move is warranted. If there's nothing specific on the pre-market, I'm just going to move on to some of the other screeners.
Sounds good, Dima.
All right, let's take a look at the open interest report. So really quickly, I'm just going to take a look on the open interest buy option contracts and see if anything interesting was happening in calls. So let's use some of these filters. Let's look for something where the open interest increased by at least 1,000 contracts or more. And it had to, on a relative basis, let's make it that it had to be at least 20% of the average daily option volume in that stock. So something on a relative basis should be significant. Let's look for call options. Let's make the option price at least 25 cents or higher. Let's make the change on that option at least 10 cents or more in a day. And let's see for the implied volatility change for it to be up. Let's do at least 10%. So the IV increase at least 10%. So here we narrowed it down to 8 options. So here AMSC, that was up 11.4% on Friday. Let me just see what it does. American Superconductor, it's up 9.3% in pre-market. So let's see, it was up 11.4% on Friday. Looks like the October 16th expiration to 15 calls. So like $1.60 out of the money, closed at 28 cents. That was up 20 cents on the day. Implied volatility was up 62%. Open interest increased on that line by 1,710 contracts. That represents 450% of the average daily option volume in that stock. So total open interest increased 1,700 to 2,542. And that's up in the pre-market hours. It looks like up 9%, as we can see here. CSIQ, that's a solar, right? Well,
yeah, it's one of, I mean, it's a real solar company. This isn't a penny stock shot. They've been around forever and have a big piece of the market.
Yeah, 1.9 billion market cap, CSIQ solar. So they could be coming after this, like you said about that news. So that stock was up 7.6% on Friday. Looks like they're coming after October 2nd expiration, 35 call, $3 out of the money. So that's closed at 33 cents, up 15 cents on a day. Implied volatility was up 40% on that line to 67. Open interest increased by 2,372 contracts, and that represented 58.6% of the average daily option volume on that line. That's why I'm getting long buildups. GLPI, what is that one? Is in the gaming. So that's in like the gaming, gambling, right? What do they have? It's a REIT with casinos.
Yep.
So that was up 3% on Friday. This could be earnings. Well, October 29th is earnings. So they came after the November 20th expiration, 43 call. That option was up $1.18 to close at 203. Implied volatility up 32.8% with open interest increasing by 1,000 contracts on that line, which represents 146% of the average daily option volume. JetBlue, let's see if it's doing anything in the morning, up 2.2%. So that was up 2% on Friday. Looks like the October 16th expiration, the 13 call, closed at 37 cents. Implied volatility was up 22.4%. Open interest increased by 4,630 contracts, representing 32% of the average daily option volume. So let's see, this MOBL, I saw some unusual like that. I saw some unusual trading in that as well, but MOBL, see what it's doing, up 5% today. That's a software application company, low market cap, 776 million. Looks like the October 16th expiration to 7 call, closed at 63 cents. That was up 55 cents on Friday. Implied volatility up 140%. Open interest increased by 1,332 contracts on that line, which represents 600% of the average daily option volume. MOBL. OSUR, is that I think that's a biotech. Is that medical instrument devices? So let's see that was up 5.6% on Friday. October 16th expiration, looking like the 10 call, so that's in the money already. Closed at $1.95, up 50 cents. Implied volatility up 14.6%, and open interest increased by 1,150 contracts on that line, representing 116% of the average daily option volume in OSUR. Let's just do really quickly. SBH, November 20 call. Let me just see what they do. Sally Beauty Holding. Specialty Realtor. Looks like November 20 expiration, 7.5 call. That's in the money. Call right now. Looks like the 205 call up 20 cents. Implied volatility up 84.9%. Open interest increased by 1,000. Contracts representing 320% of the average daily option volume. VG, last one. Telecom services, that was up 5.1% on Friday. Looks like December 18th expiration, 11 call. That's 87 cents out of the money. Closed at 88 cents, up 30 cents on a day. Implied volatility up 11.5% on that call. Open interest increased by 2,890 contracts. So total now 10,500. So it looks like it keeps building up here. The open interest change represented 259% of the average daily option volume in this stock. So these are the long buildups from Friday. So some interesting stocks in there. Let's take a look at from the open interest. I'm going to go to really quick. Let's just see the unusual option volume. So this is an aggregate. This is the unusual option volume report. I'm going to sort it by the biggest notional and calls that traded. So you see Apple that traded 1.8 times its average daily option volume with $360 million worth of calls trading versus $175 million worth of puts trading. That was up 3.8% on Friday. Applied volatility, 82 percentile rank. Zoom that traded 2.4 times its average daily option volume, $227 million in calls trading versus $90 million worth of puts trading. Peloton that traded 2 times its average daily option volume, 176,000 contracts versus 89,000 on average, $43 million worth of calls trading versus $15.9 million worth of puts. The implied volatility there now it's in the 33 percentile rank. So we get 2 more. Costco traded 4.5 times its average daily option volume, $34.5 million worth of calls or $16.7 million worth of puts. That had last week that reported earnings. UPS traded 1.8 times its average daily option volume, $22.6 million worth of calls or $2.3 million worth of puts. Trading hands, implied volatility 68th percentile rank. So that's just really quickly what on the unusual option volume report. Let's take a look at the option block trade screen. So these are individual option trades, okay, that are trading. If you guys haven't seen it before, so these are like timestamp symbol. This is the option details, expiration, call or put, strike, where the stock was at the time of the trade, the open interest on that option contract. This is the quantity of the trade. Right here, 925. This is the price of the trade, 539 contracts traded. I'm sorry, 925 contracts traded for $5.39. This is the bid of the option and the ask of the option at the time of the trade. This is the total trade notional, so $498,000 worth of in dollar value of that trade. So you take 925 times 539 times 100 contracts deliverable. So that's what we're looking at here. Implied volatility. These are the conditions of the trade, and then you got like deltas and all these other statistics here. So let's look for unusual options trade. So first thing I'm going to do is say that the quantity of the trade, so this is the quantity of the trade, had to be, let's say, at least 20% on a relative basis of the average daily option volume total. All right, so that just that one trade represents 20% of the aggregate average daily option volume. Let's also look for trade conditions. I'm going to take out any of the multi-leg trades and let's just look for single leg trades like auto. So it had to be auto execution, intermarket sweep, order, or regular trade. So that's what I'm doing now. So far I have these 2 conditions. Let's also look for, spot price. I don't know, Should we do like about $5? So none of these like penny stocks. Let's option type. Let me see, because I still have a lot, 387. Let's look for calls. Let's look for trade price. I don't know, like at least above 10 cents. Let's look for, let me see how many I have now in here. 221. Let me keep narrowing it down here a little bit. Let's look for the delta. So let's look for out of the money calls. So not in the money. So they have to have at least 0 to 50 delta. Let me see here. 192. Let's take a look. Let's just start looking what's popping up. So MOBL, that one, remember that popped up on the open interest. October 16 call, looks like they're going for the 8 strike. The stock was 665. So you can see here, 162 contracts traded and like 3 in a row, 162, 162. So 3 in a row traded here for 40 cents. That's $6,500 worth each trade. Not that much, but that was like a cluster of buys right here. So one thing, let me just see if MOBL, if there are more. So just filter in for MOBL, you could see like total of 11 hit those conditions on that day. So they're looking at the 7 strike and the 8 strike throughout the day. Of course, these all represent at least 20% of the average daily option volume. So a little bit in size, unusual trades in there. Let's take a look at CMI here. So December 18th, the 220 call, stock was 208. Looks like 1,100 contracts traded there, $8.20. That's 910,000 contracts here. And one of the reasons I'm going here, I was just talking to a customer on Friday, and he's very good at finding these unusual trades and hopping on. It doesn't work every time. One of the things he also does, I don't know if people know, there's like a service out there you can monitor the jet schedule of these companies. So these companies fly around these private jets, and they have a schedule of where they're flying around. Some people even monitor that to see if there's anything unusual, perhaps like a buyout.
What? That sounds like something out of the movie Wall Street.
That's what I was telling them, and he was like telling me, yeah, he had like some really good, I think I forget what he wrote it down here, like jet tracker XYZ, something like that.
I have to ask Jake, do you know anything about this? This is new to me. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, and he puts these things together, and this is, I talk to like once in a while when on the phone, and like some of the things like he comes up, like how he puts this data together is really interesting, so he's grabbing data from, using ours for like the options and the unusual stock and putting all these other things together. But he's really good also in the biotech industry, because like that's his background. So let's take a look at just in the notional size. I'm going to filter here, trade notional. So here CMI popped up, $910,000 worth of calls trading. NAV, $632,000 worth of calls trading, $1.10. AA, $590,000 worth of calls trading, 75 cents. So you see big trade here, 7,869. So that's in the longer term, right? Longer dated options. What's this? Is that American Airlines? Alcoa?
It is American Airlines, yep. Or maybe Alcoa.
Longer dated option here, Jan 15 call. Jan 15, 2021, the 115 call. Stock's 107 right now. So there you have $516,000 worth of calls trading. Again, looks at but he does put other things together. Looking through other data like insider trading and stuff like that. Very meticulous, follows him. Does really well though. He does. I talk to him regularly. Does really well. He uses this report. VALE NAV. So we could see NAV had a bunch of cluster repeat trades. Let's take a look at NAV. All right, so 4 of them here. So we see here $632,000 worth of these 40 October 16th 45 calls. That's 4350. So $632,000 worth of those. The November 20 calls, the 45 calls, looks like $310,000 worth of those calls traded. Another one, $300,000 worth of calls traded November 20th. October 16th, 45 call, 275,000. So let me see, what does this do? Navistar International Farms. So again, you know, look up news, anything going on with regulation, anything that might be going on in there, like what, you know, the idea is like what could be the intent of this trade? You know, do you agree with it? Are there other signs in there, bullish or bearish? Another thing we could do really quickly is just see what trade actually from this list. Let's see if there's any that were performing well on Friday. So I'm going to just take a look at from the time of the trade to see if the option returned at least 20% or more from the time of the trade. So this is kind of saying, well, the trade happened. What happened after the trade? Did the option, you know, go up, go down, you know, because it kind of gives you confirmation, right? The trade happens, the option's going up. So it's going in the same direction. So we got to see here NAV, we see that traded 170. The market at the close was 175.250. So that's up 37% if we use the midpoint as the fair value. ACWI, that traded where was that trade? At $2.30. The market was 295.320, so 33%. After the trade, CERN traded 80 cents, market's 90 cents, 115, so up 28% after the trade. VRSN, again, that traded 335, market's 380, 470 after the trade, up 26.9%. PWR. So let's just see what some of these are. Actually, software. Let me see, CRN, healthcare, PWRs. That's engineering construction. So, so you see here that's up 23%. Here's one up 80% after the trade. Traded $1.50. Market's 240.300. So that's up, you know, 80% after the trade, and that's on the same day. So CUB, let's take a look. CUB, Cubic, Aerospace and Defense. Any of these ring a bell? CUBs, some of these stocks are new to me. ANIK, so that was up, let's take a look, 20%. So traded at $1.60, $1.65, 220 after the trade. Let's take a look what they do. Biotech stock. This MOBL we saw, SEE. Let's see what they do. Packaging and containers. Did we talk about this one? I remember just
we did when we discussed it had a move one day, and we talked about the old adage, don't go digging for gold, sell picks and shovels. And we were talking about Amazon and how boxes show up every day. And
yeah, exactly. So we know that in the retail space, in the internet retail space, a lot of companies are doing well because of the COVID, and they're selling a lot, like Amazon and other ones. So who's a supplier to them, right? Look for the suppliers to them to do well instead of picking which one is going to be the best. Look for the ones selling the picks and shovels. So SEE, we see here traded 35 cents. Closed at 40 cents, 55 cents. So that's up 35.7% after the trade. These are, remember, these are returns the same day of the trade, right? So that happened on Friday. This is where it closed on Friday. So these are big returns on the same day. So just looking for anything interesting going on in there that could have a story behind it, and you know, looking for for those potential, potential opportunities. We're coming up against the bell. Do you have any questions there, Will?
Well, we were talking about there was some commentary about SRNE, which is a biotech, and they were seeing if you were bullish, if there were any spread showing up on the trade ideas. I don't know if you have a second for that.
What's that? SRNE?
Yep.
All right, so that one is, and one thing I started to do, let me see if I could do that really quickly, if I have that on here, but this isn't ready yet, but I'm just going to see. Wait. Okay, so that's not ready yet. Okay, let's go back to the SRNE. So looking just like for a bullish idea?
Yeah, maybe with a credit, a bull put spread or something like that.
Okay.
Hey, Chameleons, while D's looking at that really quick, thanks for joining us. Thumbs up if you're new. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Always a big help to you, so you get the latest releases for any videos or new things that are happening on the Chameleon.
So here's some bull put spreads. So these are credit put spreads. So we see here it filtered out the October 16th, the selling the 10 put, buying the 6 put for $1.60. We think it's worth 98 cents, given you 26% at theoretical edge with the historical win rate 71%. Here's another one that filtered out October 16th, same expiration, selling the 8 put, buying the 6 put for 50 cents. We think it's worth 21 cents. So theoretical edge is 19.6% with the historical win rate 85%. And the last one, let's do this one. Also October 16th expiration, filtered out the selling the 9 put, buying the 8 put, so dollar put spread for 40 cents. We think theoretically it's worth 29 cents based on the historical data. That given the theoretical edge of 18% with a historical win rate 71%. So that's really quickly the bull put vertical put spreads.
Awesome, Dima. Thanks for that from the people who are viewing SRNE, maybe bullish. You can always get bearish too. That's up to you. D, yep. Great show. Thanks so much for giving all this information to all the Chameleons.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Have a great trading day, and hope to see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Stay safe out there, Chameleons. Have a safe trading day.
Bye, everyone.